Broadcasting from the Symphony Studios in Marietta, Georgia, it's time for the High Tech Women Podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. Listen in as we speak with and learn from inspiring women who have stepped up and stepped into careers in technology and construction. Now, here are your hosts. Hey everyone, and welcome to the High Tech Women Podcast. In this series, we have the opportunity to sit down with and learn from incredible women in the technology and the construction space. I am your host today, the Marketing and Media Manager here at Symphony, Katie Galley. And in this inaugural episode, I am joined with my co-host, Shannon Tabor, who is one of Symphony's best project managers. And we just wanted to share with you all what this podcast is about, what we hope to achieve through it, and what we want you guys to get out of it, etc. So we're super excited to finally launch this podcast, this episode. So how are you doing, Shannon?
Good. I'm doing good today, Katie. How about you?
I am doing great. I'm really excited that we're doing this. We're launching this. I know we've been talking about this podcast for a while. It's both, the mission of it is very important to both of us and wanting to bring together all manner of women across these spaces and start curating their stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Shannon, I thought a really cool place to begin with that is, of course, a reason why we're doing this is, one, we're a woman-owned DBE, and two, we get to promote and lift up incredible women in this space such as yourself. And you have a very unique journey with where you started in construction and where you've grown to today. So could you share with us a little bit about your own personal, professional journey, how you got involved in the space initially and where you've grown today with Symphony?
Sure. I've been in the construction industry for probably about maybe 15 years, maybe a little bit longer. I started out as a admin for an audiovisual company, and a gentleman there kind of took me under his wing and kind of taught me a little bit about construction and the pros and cons and how to deal with customers. And then I actually went on to become a service manager for a company where we did a lot of fire, a lot of security, audiovisual, that kind of thing. And of course, as a service manager, people call when stuff's broke. So you're dealing with them at their, I need help now, it's a fire, that kind of thing. And especially when you're dealing with life safety, that's not something that can be pushed to the side. So I really grew in that role. And then I was presented an opportunity at Symphony, which was just amazing and life-altering, to be honest with you. It's nice to be working with a company that cares about the body of the company, to make sure that everybody is loved and cared for and treated as a family. And my old company had that at the beginning, and it kind of steered away a little bit from that. So I was definitely looking for something along that line, and something that's women-owned and God-based. Like, you don't find that very often. So I was very fortunate to come to Symphony and learn different roles as a project manager. In the service industry, you are a project manager because you have every service ticket is a project, essentially, and you have to start it, finish it start to finish. So I learned a great deal there, and I was able to, bring that to where I am now. And I've been with Symphony for about 3 years now. And I feel like now we're starting to get more employees, that we're growing more quickly, which is an awesome problem to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, we're going all the time. We're busy, and we're gaining more and more customers, which is great. And I feel like the people there are a great group of people that I'm fortunate enough to work with and learn from on the same token. So I'm very glad to be where I am. I'm very happy with the company that I work for and the people that are there with me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the culture lends itself to that. And then two, I mean, like you're saying, having the opportunity to work for a woman-owned company. And then just the culture that is innately part of that and part of this place. And so Shannon, from making that shift from the service industry, but like you're saying too, you were essentially project managing before you even entered this role. But now too, with the shift of, it was construction and then now into the technology side of it too, kind of bringing those two worlds together. What intrigues you about technology, or what really kind of I guess, yeah, making that shift, was it kind of a big transition for you, or were you already kind of familiar with the tech space?
I was pretty familiar with the tech space. I was fortunate enough to work, since it is like a construction industry, the technology that we're actually putting in we're kind of a jack of all trades. We can do everything from audio visual, security, access control, fire, just the latest technology as far as the Internet of Things, where like the smart stuff, the smart locks, the smart, everything is going smart oriented. So I've been learning as we go along towards that technology. The construction industry doesn't really change. It's something that is always, it's pretty stagnant. It's always the same people. It's always the GC, the electrical contractor, that kind of thing. Very few women, but I am seeing more and more women in the construction and technology now that I have. A couple of the jobs that I'm working on have women project managers, which is becoming more regular, which I enjoy seeing, and I love lifting them up.
Yep, absolutely. Because you're right. A huge part of it is you have your own journey of 15 years being in this industry and growing through it, and having someone who, your first boss, pouring into you in that way and helping lift you up through this, these different industries. And so now being able to essentially pay it forward, seeing other women come up through the industry and wanting to do that for them, and being able to provide that unique perspective because of your own experience.
Right. I think that that's super instrumental. And I also think that women have a different take on some of the construction things. Unfortunately, construction previously was a man's world, and now that women are being more involved in it, I think that the women that are in the places that they are in now have had to step very softly to get where they are. So they're not, I don't know how to say it, but so they're not leading into the man's world, but they're becoming a part of it, and it's in everybody's world.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's right. So trying to make that transition themselves and learn how to navigate it, because it is essentially uncharted territory in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
So Shannon, for you, being able to now experience this, being in this world and seeing women project managers coming up for you, reflecting back on your own journey, and two, thinking about a young woman maybe entering the construction space or entering the property tech space, what piece of advice would you offer that young woman?
This is going to sound very, very strange, but be tough. Have a very thick skin and don't take things personally. I think that a lot of times when you're dealing with project managers, when you're dealing with general contractors, whether they're men or women, they're in the position they're in because they're direct, they're trying to finish a job, they're trying to get it done quickly, and they're trying to get it done as least expensive as possible. And I think that if you come in and you have a very sensitive or emotional side of you, I think that you're not going to last very long, to be honest with you. You have to be strong, you have to hold your ground, and you have to know that it's not, they're not coming against you per se, it's just that they're trying to get the job done. Anybody's trying to get the job done, and you can't be personal and you can't be sensitive about that.
Yeah. That's good advice. It's coming in with that strength, knowing, of course, at any given time you have emotions, you're a person, and things might upset you or hurt you, but you have to realize that it's not personal. It's the job needs to get done, and you need to figure out how you can help in the best and most efficient way.
Right. And what may seem harsh to you is really not being harsh. They're just trying to get the job done. They're just being direct, which is great because then you don't have to, muddle through the waters trying to figure out what exactly they want. They're telling you what they want. They're telling you when they want it, and you just have to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really key. And so, Shannon, now thinking about, having this plethora of experience and being able to help and advise young women and young men too. Coming into these industries, just a young person, guiding them. And then two, where your own journey has led you today, being a part of Symphony, and knowing too, we are woman-owned DBE, our CEO, Johnny Fittner, who she'll be coming on a couple of these episodes with us to help host it and bring on other women. But for you, being this woman-owned DBE, wanting to support and uplift these women that we want to help share their stories, What does that mean to you? I mean, what is the goal? We have our mission and what we want to achieve through this podcast, but for you specifically, what does this mean to you? What do you hope to achieve through it?
It's funny that you asked that, because like I said, I was very fortunate with one of my first bosses. He kind of took me under his wing and kind of taught me a lot of things. He saw potential, but a lot of times women or young men, they don't know how to ask for help, and they don't know what they don't know. So I feel like us, specifically this podcast, can help people. Like, it's okay to ask questions, just know where to go to ask them, and have a network of supporters that is super important, because without that, I mean, you're never going to grow. So you need the people backing you to be able to help you, to teach you, and don't turn your head away from a lesson that can be learned. I feel like in today's world, a lot of times the younger generation may think that they know everything, or they have different personalities sometimes, but lessons are always there to be learned. So don't shy away from them. Learn something from them, even if it's a negative, in your life. Learn from it, grow from it. And I'm fortunate enough that one of my nieces is a project manager. So she has asked me different things, like throughout her career, as she's coming across different scenarios. Well, how should I handle this, and how should I handle that? And I'm fortunate enough to say that, okay, well, I was in a similar position. This is what I found to work. And I feel like this network, this podcast, can help build people up like that, with past experiences and learning for them on different situations that they can learn from.
I love that. I think you're right. That is probably the key reason we're doing this, right? I mean, of course, millennials can get a rap of, like
you said it, not me.
I mean, you were hinting at it, but it's true. I mean, coming at any situation with a level of humility and understanding of, I do not know everything. I don't know, not that I don't know anything, but you don't know anything about the industry you're entering into. So taking the advice of people who've been there and have had these experiences, it's invaluable, honestly. And so being able to, you and Johnny being able to sit down with you and other incredible women who've gone through it and been able to, they can share the stories of the experiences that they've had. So then listeners, young people entering into the workforce, or even people who've been in it for a while, they're able to hear, oh, I was in a similar situation, or, oh, that's how I could handle that kind of experience if I come up on it. And you're right, because I think the biggest thing is it's the humility in entering situations where you don't know all the answers, but it's also the humility in, I don't know the answer, so I want to ask. But if you're afraid to ask, then we are creating a resource to help those people tune in every week, bi-weekly, so they can learn, and hopefully have some key takeaways about it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that's super important.
Yeah. Well, Shannon, thank you for being our inaugural guest. We're super excited. And so, if you guys listening in, this is our first episode, got to sit down with Shannon and talk about her own journey. Tune in. It's likely going to be a bi-weekly podcast to start, and then we'll probably go to weekly. Any given week, it'll be myself and Shannon co-hosting, or Shannon and Johnny Fittner, our CEO, and we'll be able to bring on some incredible women for this show. So we have our first couple episodes lined up. If you guys know anybody, or you are a young woman yourself entering into the property tech or construction space, we would love to speak with you, love to help share your story. So just reach on out, and we'd love to chat. All right, Shannon. Well, thank you so much, and we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. To learn more about Symphony, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at Symphony Technology Solutions, and on Instagram at Symphony Tech Solutions. Never forget that wherever your pursuits take you, cling to the truth that you are absolutely made for a time such as this. See you on our next episode.